On today's wrestling news, we've got a new Impact World Champion crowned on AEW Rampage.
John Cena and Roman Reigns take some serious shots on SmackDown.
We've got another new champion crowned on SmackDown.
And a new match has been announced for SummerSlam on SmackDown.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Yes, it's my name. My name is Phil Chambers. That's a thing that we say. And I'm joined by Gareth to talk all things wrestling on this fine Saturday. But before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what you think of all today's stories. And yeah, let's carry on. Oh, timestamps in the description. That's what I'm in. I'm a little bit hungover. You might be able to notice.
No, we can't tell. Not at all.
First up on AEW Rampage kicked off with a bang last night as Christian faced Kenny Omega for the Impact World Championship. And we have a new Impact World Champion. Christian Cage beat Kenny Omega. The finish was great. Don Callis was distracting the referee, so Kenny Omega hit a low blow on Christian, and then the Young Bucks came out and they had a chair and they passed it into Kenny Omega and he set it up in the ring, and you just thought, God damn, you dastardly heels are gonna do it again. And then he lifts him up for the one-winged angel and he's gonna do it on the chair, but instead Christian wriggles out of it, he gets into the kill switch and he drops Kenny Omega with a vicious looking kill switch on the chair. The way Kenny sold it was absolutely brilliant. And then he hits the pin, and 1, 2, 3, and we have a new champion, and the crowd went absolutely wild. And then afterwards, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and Don Callis from Impact came out to celebrate with him, and it was just a bloody lovely moment to kick off AEW Rampage, and the first time Christian's held a TNA Impact Championship since back in 2007 when he had the NWA Championship.
Yeah, it was a big moment. A big moment. It was just, like you said, the Kenny sell for that kill switch.
So good.
His body, he just twisted inside and out. The human body should not be able to do those things. It was frightening. It just looked like he just completely committed his face into it was madness. If you've not seen it by now, you have to go and do it. Just go and just enjoy it. Just treat yourself. It's a Saturday morning. It doesn't come much better than that for a kickoff match for a brand new show. You want to get invested in it. You want to be sold on this new 1 hour format. Boom. That is how you do it. Hook it into my veins. It was great. It was great stuff.
Absolutely great. So obviously we're going to have Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega at All Out as well for the AEW World Championship. We'll have to see what happens there. And on Impact as well this week, they had a battle royale to get the number one contender for the Impact World Championship, and that is going to be Brian Myers. So I guess at some point we're going to get Christian Cage versus Brian Myers down in Impact, but it's all very exciting. This Forbidden Door stuff is just great, isn't it?
It is. Everything's just open. Everyone can go everywhere, and it's just I like all these little connections that have been made and all these little dream matches that we didn't think we were going to see for a while. Just coming together. It's good stuff. But speaking of things coming together, two absolute titans came together. Sounds weird now I've said that, but they did. They were there on SmackDown together last night. It was John Cena and Roman Reigns, and they pretty much did the sequel to the whole big Raw thing they did in 2017, where they just went at it. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, were those low blows? Were they not meant to be happening? Were they unscripted moments that just happened? Oh my God, it's all a shoot." That kind of happened again on SmackDown, and this time Roman Reigns, he hung pretty well. He wasn't as, let's say, nervous. He didn't seem as got to as what he was when Cena just absolutely tore him a new one all those years ago. I enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. So Cena's kicked off everything by giving Roman Reigns a report card, because the Americans are all going back to school, which is a bit of a shame. I think we've still got a couple of weeks off over here in the UK. And he gave him a D and an F. So everyone was like, "Oh wow, that's really he's got into him now. He's gonna come out and fight some serious shots," and he did. He came out and said that 20 years of missionary was good for Cena, but it was not good enough for Nikki Bella, was it? Which that was the sound, Phil. That was exactly what happened. He had a lot of O's, and Cena was like, "All right," he adjusted his cap. He got his shoulders all warmed up, and then he fired back by saying that Reigns almost ruined Seth Rollins, and he ran Dean Ambrose out of the company. And even Pat McAfee was just like, "Oh dang, you can't say his name here. That's not good. You can't get away with that in these parts now with Mr. Cena." And then Cena just said, Reigns is the biggest failure in WWE history. And then he did a bit of a reference to the whole CM Punk blow the kiss thing that happened in Money in the Bank all those years ago, 10 years ago now. He said that he's going to take that title and he's going to sit on the little barricade, and he might even blow you a kiss, and the champ will no longer be here because the champ's going to run off with that belt. And it was just, I love this. It was electric. Like, Reigns wasn't supposed to come out of this like with the last shot, really, because he's the bad guy, I guess, and everyone wants Cena to win in this situation. So it just worked a treat, and you just didn't feel like Reigns had been set up to fail here. He got his shots in. Yeah. He did what he does best, really. His kind of smarmy, heelish prick character came across really well. And Cena, it's so odd seeing Cena super over with the crowd. What a world we live in.
Yeah, I love this. It was very much sort of two guys just going out there and doing their thing, but doing it very, very well. And sort of, it felt like WWE didn't have their hands on this as much as they have their hands on most things. Like, I mean, just John Cena bringing up Ambrose and Punk in one promo on a SmackDown, especially now, Ambrose and Punk bringing them up. And yeah, like you say, the shots back that Roman Reigns had. Very good fun, this. I am very much looking forward to this match.
And just a little detail, Jamie Noble was the producer listed as kind of being in charge of this segment. He was one of the major brains behind it. Paul Heyman obviously has got so much to do with Reigns' character and his storyline right now. And then these two as individuals, like you just said, they probably got the most creative control of any superstar in WWE right now. Yeah. So that was like the collective brainstorm room that came up with this stuff.
Excellent. I've always liked Jamie Noble as well. I don't know why. There's just something about him that I've just always really, really liked.
I agree.
But speaking of SmackDown, we also had a new champion crowned because it was Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Apollo Crews, and Shinsuke Nakamura beat him with the Kinshasa in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Got a clean win over Apollo Crews, and then Rick Boogs and Pat McAfee just went absolutely mental on the announce table with Boogs playing him out and Pat McAfee just rocking out with it. And it was just jolly good fun all around. But yeah, we have a new Intercontinental champion crowned on SmackDown. A little bit, don't know, it's sad for Apollo Crews. I thought his reign started off really well, and then it kind of tapered out, and they kind of lost track of what they were doing with him a little bit. And now, obviously, to move the belt off him onto Shinsuke seems a little bit harsh at the minute. But looking forward to see what Shinsuke does. Obviously, his second reign with that title, and hopefully he has a really good reign.
Yeah, I agree with both points there. It's one of those things where Shinsuke, I think he's been massively salvaged as of late with this Rick Boogs partnership. I think Rick Boogs has just got all this charisma and energy, and then that little thing that they've got going on with Pat McAfee, just putting him over and just selling how awesome like Nakamura is in the entrance. Oh, that's great. But Apollo, I'm concerned a bit because like you said, he had a lot of heat behind him. He had all this momentum. He felt like he was finally getting super invested in his character and bringing all these creative ideas to the table. Yeah. And now WWE have got the crowd back and gone, nah, we've got other people that we're going to focus on. It's like, no, he could have been something really good here. Like, obviously, it's not lost right now. Like, he could be, I don't know, he could go into a great feud after this. He might even end up going after a world title, main championship in the main event at some point down the line. I think his character has the potential to do that. You just got to figure out what in the hell they're doing with it. Because same with the Commander Aziz as well. I feel like that's kind of, that partnership's just been thrown together and they've not been given any time backstage or anything. It's, a bit of concern, but we'll just keep our fingers crossed that things turn out for the best. But another thing I could say that it appears to be potentially turning out to be the best, and it could do at SummerSlam. It could be a sleeper hit. I've got a feeling it has the potential to be that. We're talking about Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. That whole feud that's been going down on Raw. It was officially announced on SmackDown that they're going to be colliding at SummerSlam. That big, could you say a big long-term feud? Obviously, they were friends all those years ago. They were in the 3MB team together, and now it's a storyline that's been unfolding. We know for a fact that Drew McIntyre has been super keen on doing this match for what feels like years now. He's really wanting to get this story out there in front of a WWE crowd, and he probably wasn't expecting it to entail him swinging a sword at Jinder Mahal and his lackeys and maybe just pulverizing a guy with a steel chair 20 times. I don't think that probably came into his mind, but it's happened. And I think he spoke to Give Me Sport recently. He said that criticism of Jinder's 2017 WWE title reign was a bit unfair, and he said that he's going to make sure that fans see a totally new side of Mahal's game inside the ring. So I feel like this could be an example of two guys who feel like they're not necessarily being given the respect and maybe the attention that they deserve right now. I think McIntyre's another dude that since crowds have come back, maybe WWE have moved in a different direction. He's kind of going, I did some pretty good work, all the way through the Thunderdome era. I want a bit of respect here. What's going on? So I feel like those two guys put on a big SummerSlam stage, I feel like they could do something pretty special. I don't know if it's just me hoping that they do, because I just don't want it to be bad, but I feel like if any two dudes who've got the experience and the know-how to bring it on a big stage, I think they could do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, honestly, they're just going to kick the crap out of each other at the pay-per-view and use that as a way of standing out from everyone else. We're just going to hit each other harder than everybody else does. That seems the way that Drew McIntyre goes in these situations. But honestly, if I don't see someone get stabbed or impaled or like limbs chopped off or something with that sword, if there's no payoff for that sword, I'm just going to be disappointed at this point.
You heard it here first. If no stab, we riot. That's the signs that we're going to see. No impalements, we riot.
And on that note, let's move over to your Twitter questions. The first one comes from Mark Salad, who says, "Morning, guys. Thumper is hoping to get a birthday shout-out. Thoughts on Jungle Boy turning heel and joining the Elite just to work his way up and eventually challenge Omega for the belt, kinda like MJF and the Inner Circle. First off, happy birthday, Thumper, 100%. But what do you think about Jungle Boy turning heel?"
That was a bit of a roller coaster. That I was really excited for Thumper, and then we had the potential of a heel turn for Jungle Boy thrown in. I don't know. I think it's so difficult in just modern wrestling right now, and we've seen it with the likes of like Big E and you could probably say McIntyre as well in recent times, to make an organic babyface that people actually give a toss about. And I think Jungle Boy is that right now. I think everyone just wants to see him do well and just climb the mountain, like similar to Hangman. If he gets beaten down a few more times, then finally does win the big one down the line, I think everyone will love that. So to suddenly turn him heel, it'd be a massive swerve. Like, sometimes swerves work, sometimes they work out for the best, and it could be, like, I don't know, a new wrinkle to the character that is Jungle Boy. But I think even just the name Jungle Boy does not sound like a heel. Maybe he'd have to become the evil Jungle Man. Like, I don't know what we'd do there.
He has to become Jungle Man at some point, because when he's, like, forcing wrestling as Jungle Boy, it might be a little bit strange.
Yeah, it could be. I'm not sure. I'm not completely sold on it yet. Maybe a couple of years down the line.
I am with you on this one as well. I think we need to ride the hype train of Jungle Boy as far as it can possibly go as a babyface before we think about doing something like that. But it is a very intriguing idea. But the next question comes from Brennan Smith, who says, AEW knocked it out of the park after the awesome Fuego del Sol moment. Who do you guys see, if anyone, can dethrone Miro?
Ooh, that Fuego moment was lovely. We'll give that a bit of a rub right now. That was a lovely moment with Sammy coming out really emotional, just going like, "Yeah, man, you deserve this contract." And he was like, "Oh my God," and they all hugged, and it was nice. Sometimes wrestling can just be nice. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the question I'd like to see, especially after the not so cryptic message that he put on Twitter the other day, I'd love to see Bronson Reed pulverize my Miro. Because how cool a story would that be? Like, maybe if we did it this year, in the space of a year, to be NXT's North American champion and AEW's TNT champion in the space of a year. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be good. My first thoughts went to maybe like a Wardlow, because obviously they're setting seeds about maybe a face turn for Wardlow if he's ever going to turn on MJF, like the little bit they did on Dynamite where he's like crushed the apple because MJF was talking down to him and things. So maybe him one day after quite a while on a turn, and he's done his stuff with MJF, and then a face Wardlow going up against Miro and just two big dudes beating up each other. I'd be down with that. But then my other thought was just put it on Daniel Bryan whenever he comes in and just have it as like a TV title that he faces someone new and up and coming every week and puts them over by losing every week whilst helping out all the little guys. You can't go wrong.
do that one. Just don't listen to mine. Do that one. You've sold me on that one. That was, I need that in my life.
And the final question of today comes from Unloading Meat, who says, if AEW Rampage continues to be the success that it was for its debut, if TNT wanted them to add a second hour, do you see it airing after its current time slot, or do you see the show starting an hour earlier and going directly against SmackDown?
It's hard to really follow that name, Phil, I'll be honest. I don't know. We were just talking about this before we came on air, and we were saying I quite like the fact that it's just an hour. It's just a nice little, not necessarily a top up on SmackDown at the end of it. I think that's disrespectful to it, but I think it's just refreshing not to kind of just take 2 hours out of your life and go, right, I've got to commit now to this 2 hours as well on top of SmackDown. It's just, I think AEW are really smart with what they've done there. They know that people are going to be watching SmackDown for 2 hours, and that can either fly by or it could drag depending on what's on the show. And then just have the little promise at the end, almost going, oh yeah, you've had SmackDown, here's the main event. It is the real show. Here's what you want to see. If it was an extra 2 hours on top of that, maybe some people would be a bit like, oh, I don't know. Or maybe if you had that overlapping with SmackDown, it's making people choose. It's splitting your viewership, which we've seen with the Wednesday Night Wars. Doesn't necessarily work out the best for both teams, because even if the other side do necessarily get better numbers, you're still going to be taking numbers away slightly. So I think keeping it separate from SmackDown's wise, and keep it at an hour. Be different. An hour's good.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I don't want to ever see it become 2 hours, because that hour-long show, like, we've missed that sort of since, like, NXT back in the day kind of thing, when that was an hour long, and you can just sit down and have a really enjoyable 1 hour of wrestling TV, and it's just refreshing that it is so quick and easy to watch, and I kind of like that. And just having that little 1 hour snippet of wrestling, just really, really good. It's just a good little format, and keeps it separate and different to Dynamite and things as well. But if they were to add the 2 hours, I would also say do it afterwards and not go head-to-head against SmackDown, because I don't think at this point anybody wins by going head-to-head. Maybe at some point a few years down the line, but yeah, not right now. And just having it in that sort of 10 p.m. to midnight time slot would allow them to do maybe a bit more edgier content, a bit more adult themed, because of the sort of late night variety, the late night aspect of it. So yeah, I'd go with that. But yeah, keep it an hour. Just keep it an hour. Keep it different. Make it stand out.
Yeah, they've started off on a good foot, so I think, yeah, it's only upwards from
very
here.
Much so. And it's always promising for whatever might happen in Chicago next week. So we'll have to wait and see for that, I wonder. But yes, thank you very much. It's not next week, is it? It's a few weeks down the line. But anyway, you know what I mean. I'm tired. I'm going to end the video now. So yeah, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what you think of all of today's stories, including what you all thought about the debut of Rampage. Let us know down below, and you can follow us on Twitter. Do that as well. You can follow me at FillMyChambers, and you can follow Gareth
at GMorgan04.
We're ending with a bang, Gareth. We're doing it. Thank you very much for watching, and have yourselves a bloody good day.
Bye.